Though the great sports successes are always fondly remembered, there's a special place reserved for those painful moments too. In the first series of essays, we look back on Robert Baggio and how his incredible performance in the USA World Cup 20 years ago remains overshadowed by a missed penalty. Hey guys, we talk football here, and today we look at the USA World Cup and how Robert Baggio performed. Penalties never appeared to be a problem for Baggio, as in the second round game against Nigeria, he scored a decisive winner from the penalty spot using the exact same strategy: a long run-up starting a few inches outside the 18-yard line, slowing the stride as he approached. He wrapped his foot around the ball and struck it to the goalkeeper's right, his favorite side. He went high with the penalties. These were always hit low, controlled, measured. But as soon as he connected with this one, it was too high. Too high. As it sailed over Taffarel's crossbar, Robert Baggio stared straight through the target he'd missed, placed his hands on his hips, and bowed his head. It was difficult to understand, just like him. John Foote, authored the definitive Calcio, A History of Italian Football, explains that the whole episode was largely inexplainable. For years, one of the best Italian TV shows about football would get lots of fans in the studio talking about these games. The fans would include a nun, a writer, a singer, all hardcore supporters, but it was very light and funny. The opening credits started with Robert Baggio missing, but what the guy singing Robert Baggio actually scored in his mind because it was a mystic. In Italy, they started to make fun of Baggio because of this miss and how it costed their country. So what a great World Cup performance it would have been. As we have to remember, in 1994, Italian football was at its peak. Three most expensive players in the world, Gianluigi Latini, Pier Papin, and Gianluca Vialli, all played in the Serie A. In May of that year, Fabio Capello's Milan won their third straight Scudetto. On the 18th month, and the Olympic Stadium in Athens, Milan destroyed Johan Cruyff's Barcelona 4-0 in the Champions League final, but the flurry of goals was somewhat out of character. Capello was a pragmatist and built his side around a magnificently meager, almost impeccable defense. In 1994, Milan won the league title, having conceded an astounding 15 goals in 34 games. They just scored 36. They drew more than a third of their matches. Their leading goal scorer, Daniel Merson, barely reached double figures. On their way to winning the Champions League, they racked up 10 clean sheets. Baggio, on their hand, was having a typical Baggio season, but in the World Cup is where he really did shine. And in the game into Nigeria, up until the 80th minute of the last 16 game against Nigeria, Baggio suffered through a turbulent, forgettable World Cup 94. Later, he claimed to have struggled with the pressure. He was the team's only game breaker. Without him, Sicili's Italy lacked style of grace or elegance. Against the Republic of Ireland in their opening game, Baggio was stifled single-handedly, as seen by Paul McGrath. In the second game against Norway, things got worse. When made through the opening period, goalkeeper Gianluca Paligua handled outside his area and was sent off, making the World Cup history in process. Baggio was humiliated and furious with Sashi. As he trudged towards the dugout, he muttered to himself, "This guy is crazy." Italy won the game 1-0, Baggio's namesake Dino popping up with a crucial header as the game seemed destined for a statement. But it was in that game, going back again against Nigeria, with 2 minutes left, Robert Musi made a clever run down the right flank. He cut inside one defender, headed towards the goal, and floated to his left eye. Just as he was about to be challenged, Baggio waited unmarked. The ball rolled into his path and he struck it first time for 15 yards. He knew where he wanted to put it, a sweeping side foot to the far corner, and was perfectly placed. He equalized, and Baggio was reborn, and Italy were still in the World Cup. In extra time, he created the penalty from which he scored. From the left corner of the area, he spotted Antonio Baronavaro, overlapping run, and he was taken down for the penalty to be created. Next, in the semi-final, after 20 minutes, Italy were awarded a throw-in on the left side. Donamundi found Baggio, who rolled in one defender. In an instant, he was away. He evaded another challenge, and fizzily moving across the edge of the area. He looked up. The shot was on. Maybe a low drive to Mikelov near post? Never. Instead, he curled a strike around the goalkeeper's left hand, bending it to the far corner. 5 minutes later, Baggio made a darting run into the right channel of the area. Alberto Neri clipped a perfectly weighted pass towards him, and he drove the instinctive strike right across Mikelov. He had single-handedly qualified Italy for the World Cup final. With 20 minutes left in the Bulgaria game, Baggio was forced off with an injury. In the dressing room afterwards, he sat away from his teammates and placed his head in his hands. many wondered if he was giving thanks or worrying about the pain in his hamstring. He was desperate to play the final against Brazil, but his rehabilitation was hampered. Italy, having played the semi-final in New York, who had traveled 6 hours across America to prepare for this decider, were just too tired. Psychologically, Baggio felt rushed. He carried a relatively minor injury, but essentially had just 2 proper days to recover. Travel was inconvenient. His training amounted to kicking a ball against the wall in a function room on the team hotel. Later, he admitted to subconsciously worrying about hurting himself in the final, particularly in the early stages. Others worried about him too. And I think that's what led up to this whole penalty miss, and how Robert Baggio's amazing World Cup performance was outshined by just one moment in that Brazil game. And how sad it is that one of the game's greatest can be remembered for a penalty miss and not the whole performance. It really goes to show that one moment can define you, and for that, unfortunate is Robert Baggio. Let us know in the comments down below. Do you think Robert Baggio's World Cup performance outshined the penalty miss, or will he always be remembered for that one moment? Please hit a like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see y'all next time.